that the vacancy which occurred in the National Assembly due to the passing on of Mr. T.Z.M. Khoza has been filled by the nomination of Ms. A.T. Mfulo with effect from the 1st of September 2017. And that the vacancy which occurred in the National Assembly owing to the resignation of Dr. W.G. James has been filled by the nomination of Mr. R.T. Hugo with effect from the 4th of September. The members have taken the oath of affirmation in the Deputy Speaker's office. Welcome once more, members, to the National Assembly. The first item on the order paper is questions addressed to the Deputy President. Members may press the talk button on their desks if they wish to ask supplementary question. The first question has been asked by the Honorable J.L. Fabs, the Honorable the Deputy President.
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Deputy Speaker, at the last sitting where you were present, you indicated that you would be returning to this House with a ruling on the behavior of Mr. Dix. And I wondered if you were in a position to deliver that ruling today.
Yeah. No, we will let you know when we are ready to do it. We will do it, yeah. Thank you. Deputy President.
Deputy Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. I thought I should do something unprecedented and start off by addressing a matter which has embroiled me in matters that affect my personal life. And I thought, because I work with all of you right across party lines, in many ways all of you are my colleagues, and just say that I will be addressing this matter in a day or two. This one does because I do need to take responsibility and be accountable. Indeed, not to this House, but I just wanted to say it. So I had a sense that because we are all colleagues, much as this matter is a personal one, I should make this type of statement. And thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Deputy President, you still, sorry?
I want to proceed answering questions. Yesterday we received rather positive news that South Africa is out of a technical recession. We have seen how multilateral organizations like the IMF, the World Bank, and the G20, and indeed many others that are part of the OECD stable, have been seeking to find answers for reforms in order to reverse global lack of growth and inequality. Many countries are having to deal with their own challenges of growth. Therefore, the news from our own statistician that our GDP had risen to 2.5 in the quarter was very encouraging indeed. But this is not the time to celebrate yet, for the task before us, Deputy Speaker, remains huge. We are far behind our NDP target of 5% growth per annum. The triple challenge of unemployment, poverty, and inequality remains. Our young people continue to be at the epicenter of the unemployment challenge, and poverty, as we have all heard, continues to rise. Like several sectors of the economy, mining still remains a priority sector. We believe that the sector retains great potential to create jobs and to contribute to our national wealth. The plan that is in place for mining is beginning to bear fruit. Mining production increased to 4.6% year-on-year in February this year. Statistics South Africa recently reported that compared to previous years, job losses in the mining sector had slowed down substantially in the last quarter of 2016. 2017 employment numbers show that the mining sector is thus far making a positive contribution. As a demonstration of working together, government convened mining industry stakeholders in 2015 in a collaborative Operation Phakisa, which in itself is showing positive results. To substantially raise unemployment, or employment rather, we need to have more inclusive growth. We need to change also the structure of our economy and demonstrate that if we have startups and new entrants in our economy, we should be able to stimulate greater competition and therefore growth. We need more regional trade and better integration into global value chains. We need to work with all social partners to rebuild confidence and to stabilize our state-owned enterprises. These expectations are matched by our daily actions to reignite growth, such as we are doing in Invest South Africa, reducing red tape and the costs associated with starting new businesses is beginning to work. In unlocking our oceans economy, Operation Phakisa has, Deputy Speaker, unlocked investments estimated at 24.6 billion, with government contributing 15 billion to this. The Department of Trade and Industry is currently providing incentive support to the tune of 428 million for investment in ports, marine manufacturing, including boat building, aquaculture, and this has led to the creation of almost 7,000 jobs. We're working on several fronts, Deputy Speaker, to build confidence and productivity in our economy. In pursuit of stability, peace, and fairness in the workplace, we've been working with social partners to reduce the risks of prolonged and violent strikes. And this has borne fruit. The principles of the national minimum wage have been agreed, and we should be in time to introduce the national minimum wage on the 1st of May 2018. Through a collaborative effort, government and business have agreed to set up the Youth Service Employment Service, which will bring in up to 1 million young people into work opportunities where they'll be able to gain skills and be in internships. Now, these are just some of the highlights, Deputy Speaker, that shows that when government and social partners work together, they are able to improve the investment climate and create work opportunities for our people. We are fully aware that GDP growth is not enough unless the economy creates sustainable jobs and closes the inequality gap. It is important for all of us to focus on the positives. Our potential, Deputy Speaker, remains greater than our current difficulties, and it is up to all of us as South Africans to ensure that we stay the course of growth and development. It is upon all of us to demonstrate that we can infuse hope and opportunity within the South African marketplace, which will be to the benefit of our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, please allow me to interrupt the Deputy President and the next, in order to welcome a delegation from the Republic of Gambia, led by the Honorable Attorney General and the Minister of Justice, is in South Africa for a week-long study tour on the South African Truth and Reconciliation. Welcome to our Parliament, honourable members. Thank you. Honourable Fabs.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And thank you, Deputy President, for your response there. It was very comprehensive. There are just one or two issues which I would like clarified. You have emphasized the need for a broad, overarching partnership with all sectors of society to effect more jobs, to actually implement, among other things, the mining plan, which also looked at stemming the retrenchment, creating new jobs, but perhaps most of all, your reference to the minimum wage, which has taken 2 years since the President mooted it in 2014. But perhaps the most important thing, Deputy President, as we've seen from the technical recession being overcome, is that you have managed to develop a platform on which all sectors of society can work together and overcome labour instability and what I would call investor strikes. My question then is this. In what measures do you think, or are you considering at the moment, to escalate, to accelerate the creation of employment, not only among the youth, which is a huge section of the population, but also among those 40 and 50-year-olds who were retrenched due to lack of strategic skills? Can you please share with us how or what measures you are considering at the moment in government? I thank you.
Deputy President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And clearly, the issue of unemployment is much more overarching, and it does not only affect young people, it also affects older people who have been displaced out of their jobs through the lack of economic growth and companies running into difficulties. Now, we are already beginning to see green shoots in a number of sectors of our economy. If you look at what drove the last quarter growth to 2.5%, you will see that mining was one of those, agriculture was one of those, and a number of other sectors also contributed. Government was on the negative, and trade was slightly on the negative as well, which demonstrates that various sectors in our economy can indeed generate growth, and that's where our focus should be. Energy also demonstrated that it can generate growth. Now, agriculture was a very pleasant surprise, but not so much a surprise because in our 9-point plan, we did identify agriculture as a growth driver. And indeed, in the National Development Plan, we have projected that agriculture can create up to 1 million jobs. And we're beginning to see the green shoots in as far as agriculture on its own is concerned. The productivity increase in the mining sector also has shown that when people get focused on increasing productivity, we can see genuine growth. Now, what does genuine growth finally lead to? It leads to creation of jobs. We're seeing it in agriculture already, and we're seeing it in other sectors of our economy, and that, in a number of ways, is precisely what we want to see. But the overarching process that we have put in place is the way in which we have crafted this structure where government, business, labor, and community are able to get together to address the challenges that face our economy. As it is now, they have been busy looking at issues such as the downgrading. A structure was created. The issue of looking at labor stability has yielded good results. And the issue of investment, encouragement, and confidence building is also another. So we've built a number of structures and institutions that have the ability to address all these challenges that our country faces. And as I said when I ended the answer to my initial question, it is when we work together, when all sectors or stakeholders in South Africa work together, that we are able to address the problems. We are seeing precisely the benefit of working together, and I have no doubt in my mind that if we continue along this path, we'll see even the next quarters and the next quarter GDP growth figures going upwards. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Matthys, EFF. Honorable Matthys of the EFF. Honorable members.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy President, job loss is the crisis of over-accumulation and capitalist contradiction we talk about. We all know that the capitalists cannot exploit other capitalists, but can only exploit workers. Pick and Pay is removing tellers to install machines. Marula Platinum and Twickenham Platinum mines retrenched workers and immediately put machines. This is happening in all other sectors, including in manufacturing and agriculture. This is not recent, but a long trend of capitalist system in perpetual crisis. In this anticipated
Honorable
environment,
member, what's your question? Your time has expired.
In this anticipated
What's your question, Honorable member?
Here is my question, listen to me.
Honorable member, your time has expired.
Environment conducive
Your time has
to
expired. We switch off your mic.
With increased job creation. How do you intend? But I'm still...
Honorable member, no, your time has expired. Your time has expired. I'm sorry.
Deputy Speaker.
No, your time has expired.
You must be consistent.
Honorable member, yes.
No,
the time allocated to supplementary questions is known to each one of you.
Why are you so harsh?
No,
Why are you so harsh?
No. There is no additional
Why are you
provision.
so harsh?
No, honorable member. You are 1 minute over your time. This can't be harsh.
It must be applicable to all members.
No,
here.
take your seat, honorable member.
Not on my side only. You must do the same
Deputy
also
President,
on this side.
would you like to comment? No, this honorable member, take your seat, please.
Yeah, but the Deputy President has said me.
No. Honorable member, no, please.
No, the Deputy President has said the question. He would...
Honorable, take your seat, honorable member, please. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Go ahead, honorable President, comment.
Deputy President, thank you. Honorable Deputy Speaker, indeed the issue of job losses that are given rise to by technological advances where machines replace workers is a matter of concern to all of us. And this is an old age problem. We saw it as industrialization started speeding up. And in a number of sectors in our economy, we've seen how workers have lost jobs to machines or to new processes that are put in place. The challenge that all of us have, and particularly now as we face the fourth industrial revolution, is that indeed we are going to find robots replacing workers, and this is a global problem. We have to be ahead of the curve. We have, as a developing economy, to find ways in which we can keep our people in jobs. And we've got to create the type of jobs that are smart, jobs that will not easily be replaced by machines, but if that happens, we should be able to ensure that our workers are so well trained and so well prepared that we will be able to absorb this storm that is coming, because it is going to come, and the fourth industrial revolution is going to be driven by machines and new technologies. So the challenge for us is, are we prepared for that? And I would say it is also up to this House, these clever minds that are here, to come up with ideas on how we can ensure that we do not get our people to lose jobs as the fourth industrial revolution takes root also in our economy. Thank you.
Honorable Carter.
Thank you. The unemployment rate has been rising yearly for the past 9 years.
Point of order.
What's your point of order, honorable member?
No, I don't have a problem. Is that the deputy speaker?
The honorable members, please order. No, honorable members, I am chairing this session. Go ahead, Honorable Chauke. Honorable Chauke, stop smiling and talk.
Deputy Speaker, you have called for Honorable Carter. Now, I don't know since when Honorable Carter has beard and is now changed to look like Madisha.
Okay, honorable member, okay, leave that to the chair. Honorable Madisha, please proceed. Honorable members, please be in order.
Thank you very much. I indicated already, Mr. Deputy President, that the unemployment rate has been rising yearly for the past 9 years. Now, Mr. Deputy President, neither the President's 9-point plan nor the Minister of Finance 14-point plan appear to provide a real solution for tangible and meaningful economic growth. What is required is fundamental structural reforms and confidence in the country's leadership. But the executive appeared unwilling or unable to take decisive, brave, and coherent action, or
Honorable member, I'm afraid your time has expired. Honorable members, the time allocation is between your whips. I've got nothing to do with it. I only enforce it. So please, if you spend your time on comment and not going to a question, there's nothing I can do. You already have more than 30 seconds, sir. I can't give you any more. Let the President, Deputy President comment or respond to what you have already said. Thank you very much.
Order, Speaker.
What's your point of order, sir?
Speaker, it's for the second time now. You refer to a deputy president as president. Don't bring your functional battles here in Parliament.
Oh.
He's a deputy president, not the president. You said it first time, you are saying it for the second time. Please, man, deputy president, rise.
Honorable member, thank you very much for your wise advice. Honorable members, please be mindful of time allocation. I do want to repeat it. That I was not given an additional discretion to add a lot of time on your time. Room is very small. Honorable Deputy President, please go ahead.
The little bit that I heard.
Honorable members, you are now out of order. Absolutely out of order, and you must not bring disruption to our house. Just keep quiet, please. There's order here. Go ahead, Deputy President.
The little bit that I heard before the question was posed seemed to be leading to one of the problems with the levels of unemployment, or what causes it is the structure of our economy. I think I heard that. And if that is the case, I would agree that yes, the structure of our economy does in a number of ways also give rise to the levels of unemployment, our inability to create the greater number of jobs that the country should have. And it is when we go to the root of these real systemic challenges and problems that we will be able to resolve the structure of our economy and therefore unlock growth. I have no doubt in my mind that if we were to do that, and already we are focusing on how we can restructure our economy and go to the root, that way we will be able to open up a number of opportunities that will lead to greater job creation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Lorima, last one.
You can't hope to save mining jobs unless the mining industry has confidence in this government and its policies. Now, we know the industry does not have confidence in this government because it's taking your government to court over Mining Charter 3. So, Deputy President, do you acknowledge that Mining Charter 3 is a barrier to the restoration of confidence? And if you do, why don't you scrap it?
Honorable Deputy President.
The mining charter was released to the industry, and what is now ensuing is that there are discussions that are taking place between the mining industry and government and labor and indeed other players. I've often said that let us allow that process to carry on, and that is a process through which the role players in the industry will be able to resolve the problems that beset the industry right now. Now, the 10-point mining plan that was released, no. The 10-point mining plan that was released seeks to address some of these challenges. And addressing the mining charter is also going to allow the stakeholders to be able to talk to each other. I was one of those who said, I want us to encourage a collaboration and a dialogue between all stakeholders in the mining industry. And I said that advisedly because I saw what dialogue yields when we were able to sit down to discuss issues of labor stability in the broader economy. So you may not have faith and confidence in people sitting around a table and having a dialogue, but some of us do, because we have seen the results of what dialogue can do. And so it is now underway, and it's no use crying over spilt milk. We now need to focus on the dialogue that is now going to happen, and that dialogue is the one that you should focus on and have confidence that it will yield good results. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable members, we go to question 32, asked by Honorable DJ Menir. Deputy President.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, as I said in this House 2 weeks ago, in 2015, President Zuma announced the reprioritization of government interventions to support, am I doing the right way? Yes. To support economic growth. Yes, indeed, you guessed right, through the 9-point plan. In 2017, Deputy Speaker, our implementation of the 9-point plan continues, and it continues to create a better life and indeed a better economy for our country. And I'll tell you how it is doing so. In the course of revitalizing the agriculture and agro-processing value chain, we have seen net exports of agricultural raw products. We've seen them increasing from on average by 14.6% since 2012. 23 agri-parks, Honorable Deputy Speaker, are currently being developed and will be completed by 2019. Through the implementation of the Industrial Policy Action Plan, 4 industrial parks have been launched in South Africa. We continue to see expansion in the auto sectors of our economy, with auto-making companies investing billions and billions of rands. In May of this year, Beijing Auto Works, together with the IDC, launched the expansion of the New Era facility in Springs in Gauteng. The investment into this expansion is estimated at 250 million rand and will create 100 new jobs. The MAN plant in Olifantsfontein in Gauteng is now producing buses for our Tshwane BRT service with 80% local content. The First Auto Works of China invested 600 million in a truck assembly facility at Kucha in the Eastern Cape. The clothing and textile industry turnaround has resulted in 70,000 jobs being saved, with an estimated 9,550 jobs created and 28 new companies that were established. The Black Industrialist Program has supported 46 projects that have attracted 3.7 billion rand of private sector investment, and this has created almost 20,000 jobs. To support localization, Deputy Speaker, 21 products and sectors have been designated for local production. This includes products such as bus bodies, clothing, textile, leather, footwear, school furniture, office furniture, steel power pylons, and canned or processed vegetables. Our interventions, Deputy Speaker, to support investment and growth through the 9-point plan includes unlocking the potential of SMMEs, co-ops, and rural and township enterprises by implementing the 30% set-aside policy that was adopted by this government. The one-stop shop, launched in 2016, is now fully operational. You can go and visit. President Zuma will, on the 8th of September, this Friday, he will launch the first Invest South Africa one-stop shop here in Cape Town. This facility, Deputy Speaker, aims to provide strategic guidance, reduce regulatory inefficiencies, and reduce red tape for all investors looking to invest in the Western Cape. Now, these are some of the problems that a number of members raised here. And this is a clear demonstration that we have heard you, and we've also heard our people and the investing community, and these problems are now being resolved. And you can go and join President Zuma when he opens that facility and see how best it's going to work. This initiative aims to improve the business environment for investment in the local economy. Our work at NEDLAC in reducing workplace conflict has resulted in the agreement that I always talk about here, and we are constantly, Deputy Speaker, planting seeds of future growth. And we are extremely encouraged by the green shoots that we steadily see in various sectors of our economy. Our greatest investment, Deputy Speaker, is not cash. Our greatest investment is confidence. We are seeking to engender confidence in this country and in this economy. And this is what this government is busy with on a daily basis. And if we can remain focused on the progress we are making daily in our economy, this will give us the inspiration to create the South Africa that all of us desire. And the key issue is that we must remain focused and have confidence in our own country. Thank you very much.
Honorable Menir.
Deputy Speaker, on a lighter note, this is an ideal opportunity for the Deputy President to demonstrate his fitness for higher office and name the 9 points in the 9-point plan without looking at his notes. Now, Speaker, on a more serious note, the Deputy President tells us that the 9-point plan is having a positive effect on the economy. But just 2 weeks ago, the Minister in the Presidency, Jeff Radebe, told us, and I quote, "The 9-point plan has not yet resulted in an improved impact on the economy. So could the President tell us why, when it comes to the 9-point plan, he, at least as far as the Minister goes, has no idea what he's talking about? Or alternatively, is he suggesting that the Minister, when it comes to the 9-point plan, has no idea what he is talking about? Perhaps, Deputy Speaker, a time out so that the Deputy President can confer with his colleagues and this Cabinet can get their story straight on the 9-point plan.
Deputy President.
No need to get our story right. Now, the 9-point plan, no, listen, the 9-point plan, like any other plan we craft, is a long-term plan. It's long-term. And let me tell you what the 9-point plan, no, listen first, you listen now. The 9-point plan contained 9 elements. The first one, listen. The first one was to resolve the energy challenges that our country was going through. Tick that one. Take that box, honorable member. That has worked extremely well. The energy challenges that the country faces are behind us now. Now, the GDP figures that have just come out have demonstrated that the 9-point plan is working. The agri contribution to our GDP growth, a 2.5 GDP growth during this past quarter, is something that we had not foreseen. We had not foreseen it. Even your own economists could not have foreseen that agriculture will make such a great contribution. It is part of the 9-point plan, my friend, because the 9-point plan addressed the challenge that we face in agriculture. Now, you look at the contribution that energy has done in terms of driving the growth. It has driven great energy growth for our 2.5% rise. The Ocean Pakisa, which, as I said in my opening address, in my answer, has already attracted 46 billion rand. Already, we are building boats. We are building tugboats that we are taking and exporting out of the country. We are doing precisely that. Whether you like it or not, it is happening in this very economy. And the issue of localization is taking root. The buses that are now being used in our major metros are being manufactured here, and 80% of the content is local content. Now, this is how the 9-point plan is moving this country forward. Mining is also a critical sector in our economy. No. The minister in the presidency had not foreseen that mining would have made such a great contribution. So he made the statement earlier. And now, because we have a very scientific approach to the way we do things, the statistician general, who is independent, by the way, said, good news and good news to you all. We have grown by 2.5%, and these are the key drivers to the growth that we have achieved. So I'd like you to go and take the 9-point plan and take it for bedtime reading. Study it very carefully and see how it is driving this economy forward. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sengwa.
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, may I address you on rule number 66? The member has asked the question. The Deputy President is trying to answer the questions, but he gets interrupted by the members of the DA. I'm requesting you that to address rule number 66.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Okay, honorable members, you heard the member. Honorable members, please, Honorable Tengwa, proceed.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Acting Mr. President, since the President is away, it's all good and well what we received yesterday, the 2.5 growth. But if you recall, in 2005, we also celebrated about 5.5 growth as a country, but it was jobless growth. The same now has happened, and youth unemployment in particular is what I would like to zoom on, Mr. Acting President, that the youth unemployment now stands at 55.9% and continues to increase. So whilst you speak about the 9-point plan, I would like to find out what are the targeted areas in the 9-point plan which deal specifically with ensuring that youth unemployment is addressed, particularly along the lines of innovation, skills development, knowledge and expertise, and whether business incubation is taking center stage as we try and give SMMEs a priority in the economy.
Honorable member,
so if we
your
can
time is
sharpen on youth unemployment within the parameters of the
Honorable
9-point plan.
Tengwa,
Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Time is expired. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. We are focusing a number of interventions to address the issue of youth unemployment. The first and key one that we decided to focus on is a collaboration between business and government and labor, where we are setting up the Youth Employment Service. And as I said, through that, we are going to create, at the very least, 330,000 jobs a year over the next 3 years. And that is 1 million jobs where young people are going to be brought into internships, they'll be brought into learnerships, and our experience is up to 60 to 70% of young people who get into learnerships do finally get absorbed into the labor market. So we are hoping and staking quite a lot of hope in this process working well. The agro-processing process or initiative that we've embarked upon in terms of the 9-point plan is going also to focus on how we bring young people into agriculture, how we are going to equip them with skills, and how we are going to attract them to become employed in agriculture, but to start off with agricultural studies. Now, we are seeing something very interesting at the university level and at TVET colleges level. A number of young people are taking up agricultural studies. And when it comes to the issue you mentioned, which is business incubation, a huge industry is growing around incubation. And we have found that the incubation of startups, small and medium enterprises, does actually yield a lot of benefits. And many young people are being drawn into that. And in some universities, initiatives have actually been started where young people who are innovative, who are clever, who've got new ideas are being brought into incubation processes so that they can showcase their ability to deal with new technologies and a whole number of new developments. Now, these are incubation processes that lead to the establishment of businesses, getting people to be properly mentored, and starting small and medium enterprises that immediately have a market in one way or another. And the many other things that we are doing in terms of this plan are targeting young people, because we have decided that we want to focus on bringing young people into the world of work so that we can take as many of them as possible out of unemployment into employment. So we've got a plethora of initiatives. Even the Rural Development Ministry is bringing young people into an initiative where they are being trained into a whole number of other skills. Our public employment program also brings in a number of young people. And this is another important one, because as they get into the public employment programs, we find that they learn skills, they become accustomed to the world of work, and they are then able to get into the labor market with greater ease and get into new jobs. So work is underway to get young people into jobs throughout the economy. So we are not sitting on our laurels, we are doing quite a lot of things. I could go on and give you a whole number of other initiatives that we are busy with. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Mishwe.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. When delivering his State of the Nation address in February this year, the President lamented the fact that the economy was not growing fast enough to create much-needed jobs. Among other things, he mentioned transport infrastructure as one of the cross-cutting focus areas that would be added to the 9-point plan to reignite the economy. There are companies we know that are suffering profit decline because of Metro Rail's poor service. Some are reportedly operating at 50% capacity as a result of the erratic rail service. When trains are late, staff arrive late for work, resulting in the loss of essential working hours and consequently declining profit margins. What will government do to ensure that South Africans get an efficient and reliable train system that will ensure that our workforce reaches their place of employment safely and on time, thus ensuring profitability and a boost to our failing economy? Thank you.
Deputy President.
You'll be pleased to know, Honorable Mishwe,
On a
that...
point of order, Deputy Speaker, sorry.
Yes.
Future President.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just concerned, the Honorable Batabile is drinking some greenish substance, Deputy Speaker, so is that allowed? I just want to check with you.
Honorable Minister, we have in the past advised members not to bring any drinking stuff except those that is served by the service officers. Honorable members, please do not do that. Okay.
But you must ask her to live with that greenish substance because we don't know what is in there. Please, you must ask her to live with it.
Honorable
because
member.
you have asked in the past the others to leave, so she must do the same. She's not immune to the rules of the House. Yes, you have done it.
Honorable member, please take your seat and stop telling me what rulings to make in future. Allow me to make the rulings, please.
Deputy Speaker.
Please? Yes.
On a point of order.
Yes.
I think you need to be consistent because the other day you were very harsh with me when I brought in a cool drink and you chased me out. So you must give her the same treatment.
Honorable Merve, Honorable, please, hold on. Honorable Fallen Member, you were sitting here next to your whip. You went back to your seat and you never went out. Yes, you never went out. Honorable Member, please remember, no. From the whip, you went to your seat where your drink was and you never left. That's out of order. Honorable members, please mind the truth. It's always useful to be accurate and so on. Even if you think it's not to your advantage, say it. It liberates you. Absolutely, even if it pisses you off.
Point of order.
Honorable members, Honorable Minister,
Deputy Speaker,
as we have suggested.
Deputy Speaker, on a point of order, sir, yes. Parliamentary language should always be, the example should be set from the chair.
Yes.
I would submit that the word that you've used is unparliamentary.
Which one?
I don't want to repeat it because I don't want to be guilty of the same transgression. But it starts with a P and ends with an S. It has to do with urination.
No. Honorable members, that word, no, it makes you angry, it makes you mad. That's what it means, not what Honorable Chief Whip is saying. If you feel it's offensive, I will withdraw it immediately.
Deputy,
but it doesn't mean that.
Deputy Speaker,
and I'm going to bring my dictionary to your office, but I withdraw it.
Deputy Speaker,
okay.
perhaps a different cultural context. But I think it would be safer.
It's not cultural context. No.
It would be safer if you withdraw, sir.
Honorable Deputy President, please go ahead.
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Or did you finish answering Honorable Mission? No.
No,
Well,
I'm about to answer Honorable Mission.
Yes.
I was going to say, Honorable Mission, you'll be pleased to hear that I've just come out of a meeting where the issue of the trains and PRASA was being discussed. A number of the concerns that you have articulated, delayed trains, trains being cancelled, trains never arriving, and people arriving late at work were issues that were discussed and raised very sharply. And in that regard, having discussed the matter, we said that we will take action to address all those issues, starting off clearly with making sure that we have proper structures that are going to run PRASA, make sure that the board is properly constituted, make sure that the management is properly streamlined and they know what they should be doing, and make sure that the trains run properly throughout the country. And we've received reports that it's not only in one area, it's the Western Cape, in Gauteng, and a number of places where we have such challenges. So problems are being addressed, and thank you very much for raising the issue. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Kubisa.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, there is no doubt that ocean economy plays a critical role when it comes to job creation. And you have just referred to Ocean Pakisa, which plays a cardinal role in also job creation and skills development. Now, I would like to know what strides have been taken to ensure that the people within the proximity of our ports, for instance, Kucha, Durban, Richards Bay, get some opportunities to have their skills developed, equipped, and our youth in particular. Are they getting access to job opportunities? Are they getting equipped for them to get skills, especially with regard to scarce skills? Thank you very much.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Kubisa, you will be pleased to know that we are taking a lot of initiatives to skill young people to get ready for the ocean economy takeoff. I have been privileged enough, as I've traveled around a number of countries, to visit young people that we have sent to countries such as Sweden to go and get marine training. I met almost 25 young people who are doing master's degrees in marine training. And this having been arranged by our Department of Higher Education. I've been privileged enough to go to Japan and met young people that we are training, and some of whom are about to complete their studies. I did the same when I went to Vietnam. I met a number of these young people who come from here, who are being trained in marine training and various aspects, including boat building, by the way, and went also to Singapore, met young people who are being trained in ocean transportation and also being able to manage harbors. I also went to China and met young people from here who are being trained at some of their big universities on the ocean economy. So what we have sought to do, Honorable Kubisa, is to send many of our young people to go and get trained in various skills. And these are skills that were closed to many black young people in our country. Now they are acquiring those skills. And let me say to you, they are all enthusiastic, raring to come back to contribute to the country that has enabled them to go out and learn all those skills. And we also had an opportunity as we traveled, particularly to Vietnam, to go with a number of people who want to get into business, into the ocean economy business, into boat building. And they were able to see that this is a business that can yield quite a lot of profit for them. So a lot is happening in that sector that is going to yield good results for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It deals with question 32. We now move to question 33, asked by the Honorable Mende, NV Mende. Deputy President.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, as I have stated in this House on a number of occasions, members of the executive are collectively and individually accountable to Parliament, and this is in terms of our Constitution and also in terms of the rules of the National Assembly. The Constitution further says that members of Cabinet must provide Parliament with full and regular reports regarding matters under their control. The executive members remain committed to ensuring that these members do account. Rather, I should say the executive itself remains committed to making sure that members of the executive do account regularly and effectively to Parliament. As the leader of government business, I provide Cabinet with regular reports on this matter. Each time Cabinet meets, I table a report on the activities of the executive members in relation to their responsibility to this Parliament. It is a fairly extensive report which deals with various aspects of the way in which members of the executive interface with Parliament. Where difficulties arise between ministers and committees, such issues should be escalated to appropriate structures. And we know that a number of committees do at times raise concerns about the manner in which they are functioning or working with members of the executive. And in this regard, we say, if such incidents do come up, there's nothing that stops members of Parliament from raising these matters through appropriate structures of this National Assembly. In fact, this House has full rights and authority to sanction members. It has the right to call members to come here. It also has the right to sanction members of the executive, those who miss scheduled meetings without reasonable explanation can be sanctioned by this House. Such powers do not reside with the leader of government business. And this is so because it is this House that can also sanction the leader of government business. If, as your Deputy President, I do falter in my tasks and don't account to you, you can sanction me. It is my wish that the executive and Parliament will maintain the good track record we have established, and that disputes will be resolved with the ultimate objective of ensuring that there is accountability, first and foremost, and that this Parliament functions as we want it to function. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Mende, yeah.
Yeah, Ngosi, Deputy Speaker. Deputy President, you've said a mouthful, and yet we remain with empty chairs, especially here in the front where your ministers are supposed to be seated. And that doesn't happen only today. It happens during member statement and motions where they are supposed to be giving answers. Secondly, on this question, I specifically asked about Minister Mutambi, and you did not go there. You are saying the committees have powers. Let me tell you something. That committee sanctioned Minister Mutambi. Guess what happened? It was withdrawn from another level. So where are these powers exactly? That was withdrawn at another level, and the chairperson of that committee was never made aware that the subpoena has been withdrawn. Then thirdly, Minister Mutambi, you just here, you did a very good thing, a very disciplined member of parliament, taking accountability and responsibility of actions, in fact, allegations. She never came here to explain why she's flying her own family. She never came here to explain why she's hiring her own family in the department. She has never accounted for anything, and yet she remains a member of the cabinet. Why is that?
Honorable Deputy President.
Now, honorable member, the matter, and I'm sorry you had a sense that I did not answer the matter of Minister Mutambi. The matter of Minister Mutambi, as I understand it, is being dealt with at the committee level. Now, and that is where it should be. And I will follow it up so that the matter should be dealt with. I will follow it up because that's where it should start. And the members of the committee, as a structure of this National Assembly, should be able to deal with that matter, and they should get an explanation from the member in question. So that, I trust, should then take place, and I will be raising it as well. Thank you very much. Soon.
Honorable Tlowama.
Honorable
members,
Deputy Speaker, Honorable Deputy President, I want to recommend some tablets to heal your fear because Honorable Deputy President, you must agree with me that it's truly mysterious and suspicious that Minister Faith Mutambi is still a minister, where good ministers were fired. This latest shenanigans of this minister shows that you are undermined as a leader of business government. Can you show some courage and recommend that this minister must be fired? Otherwise, Deputy President, this will contaminate you and the chances of you being the leader of this country.
Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. It is such an easy question to answer. The Deputy President does not appoint members of the executive. So I cannot do that. I cannot even venture into the direction that you are suggesting, to suggest or recommend or not recommend. It is not my task, it is not my duty, it's not my burden, and it's not my area of responsibility. I am just the Deputy President, and the President is the one who appoints, who does all that. Thank you very much.
Honorable
Speaker.
What are you raising, Honorable Member?
The Deputy President has responded previously. He said he's going to follow up. Can he give flesh to the follow-up? Because we thought following up, including firing where it's needed.
Honorable Member, please take your seat. That's Honorable Kwabaza.
Deputy Speaker, it's Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honorable
It's
Member.
Honorable Kuno.
Oh, we are Kwabaza. Go ahead.
Okay. And Siabulela, Sekela Mongameli ngendlela ophendule umbuzo ngakhona. As parliamentarians, we are accountable to the public by ensuring fulfillment of their needs through service delivery. It's also important to prove that there are consequences for every action taken not only by accounting officers, but by executive as well. DPSA is a critical department to oversee other departments. There should be zero tolerance for non-compliance. However, agreeing with what the Deputy President has said, as Parliament, we have, the Portfolio Committee has a responsibility to play their role. Let us leave this process and let it be discussed by the Portfolio Committee. But however, Deputy President, my question is that
I'm afraid
how are you as the leader of government business making sure that the resolutions of this House are implemented?
Honorable members, please stop screaming. That's the job of the chair in the House. Don't do that. Deputy President, no. Don't tell me that. You're out of order. In the first place, that's really stretching it now. Don't think about that, please. Deputy President?
Deputy Speaker, there was such a noise, I actually did not hear the last tail of what she was asking.
Because they don't want to hear that. Repeat that question.
The question is that, as the leader of government business, how is he making sure that the resolution taken by this House are implemented in
Deputy
government?
Speaker.
Deputy Speaker.
Honorable members, please.
No, the 1 minute has expired. Why do you allow her to speak?
Honorable members.
Her time has expired, Chief.
Honorable members. Honorable members.
Deputy Speaker. You did not give our member the opportunity to repeat the question.
Honorable members.
Because of time.
Honorable members.
And we are awarding that member a second
Honorable members. I've been appealing.
You must be consistent.
Honorable member, I have consistently requested you to be quiet, to lower your voices, not to, because it improves the quality of hearing in the House. If you don't do that, you kill it. Your member here has just asked a question. Your member in front here, all right?
Deputy Speaker.
Your member here are allowed to ask a question when I shouldn't have done that, okay?
I think
I've
you
done
need to
that.
be consistent.
Look at you now. You're talking, nobody recognizes you. No, don't do that.
Can you recognize me, Deputy Speaker?
No, honorable members,
Can you
speak
recognize me?
when you are not supposed to speak in the first place.
Can you recognize me?
You have violated the rules.
Can you recognize me?
No, I'm not. We are proceeding now.
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, honorable member.
You cannot say that we're violating the rules of Parliament if you are doing it yourself.
Honorable member.
You clearly said to Honorable Medisha, sit down, your time is up. He couldn't get the last part of his question, and but you allow it when it happens in the ANC benches.
Honorable Carter, you were not here when Honorable Howler stood and asked a question, all right? You were not here. You were not here. And
says who?
This is the problem.
Says who?
You take your seat, you're out of order. Take your seat.
You are the only one that is out of order, Deputy Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much for that observation. Honorable members.
Point of order, Deputy Speaker.
What's the point of order, honorable member?
Deputy Speaker, you are consistently doing this every day, and you think this is your house.
Honorable member.
This is not your house. There are rules in Parliament, and if you are giving it to the ANC to repose the question, then all of us must get an opportunity to do that. This is not your house.
Honorable member,
so please
take
respect us, because when you don't respect us,
honorable
you demand respect and then you don't
Honorable
do it.
member, take your seat. I respect the rules.
You don't.
I respect you. Take your seat, please, honorable member. And the rules require that if a decision has been made by the presiding officer, if you want to challenge it, please do it properly. You know the rules. Please do that. Please
Honorable
do that,
Deputy Speaker.
so that we address it, so that it doesn't arise.
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Carter.
Respectfully so. We do address communication. to the office of a speaker and to your office, and you never replied to any of it, like the apology that you are supposed to do in the House for the way you treated Honourable Medisha.
We have
so if we do
replied.
put
Honourable
complaints
member,
through,
please take...
you do not respond to it.
Honourable member, please take your seat. We have already responded to you. Don't worry about that one. It's answered. Deputy President, please go ahead. Please go ahead, Honourable Deputy.
Point of order, Speaker.
Yes, what's the point of order, Honourable Member?
You are making a mistake, you must withdraw. You are saying Khawula rose and asked a question. I have not asked a single question. It's only one Khawula in the House.
Yes, and you commented, right, Honourable Member?
I asked a question. Withdraw that because you are misleading Parliament, saying that I've asked questions. I haven't asked questions here.
All right,
I'm here to ask one.
Honourable members, I think I want to rule on this thing comprehensively, and I'm going to come back to you. I'll do that. Let's proceed, Honourable Deputy President.
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
I would like to be recognised.
Yes.
Thank you. Whenever the Honourable Carter is speaking, there is howling and catcalling and meowing from the ANC benches. I would ask you humbly, sir, to ask the whips to discipline their members. It is demeaning to the female members of this House to be catcalled in that way, and it is specifically directed at Honourable Carter. And I think it is unparliamentary, and I would like you to call them to order. Thank you.
Honourable members, that's correct, and that point of order is sustained. Please, you know the conduct. Honourable members, can I appeal to all of us to behave appropriately and not scream at anyone, no matter how intolerant we are of their views. It is incumbent upon us that others can do the same thing to you, and it would be completely out of order. I request you to really behave appropriately. Honourable Deputy President.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, I'm afraid I have to say to you that I did not hear the question in full. As she was trying to repeat it, there was too much noise and I didn't hear it.
Okay. Honourable President, we will have to go over that. Honourable Filtani, it's your turn, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Deputy
Honourable Waters, Honourable Deputy Chief Whip. Please, man, you see, heckling, it's not a bad idea. But when you repeat what you called unparliamentary comments across the floor, we can't but hear it from where we are sitting. So I plead with you not to do that, please. And let's not do that.
Deputy Speaker, it's amazing you hear me say it, but no one from the ANC.
No.
Maybe you need a hearing aid in your right ear.
Honourable members, please, let's not do that. It's inappropriate. Two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. Honourable Waters, I've spoken to you. Can you stop? Honourable Waters, please. Honourable Waters. Honourable member, I have spoken to you, please. Honourable member, stop talking. Honourable Fitan, go ahead, ask your question.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. From the mixed responses you have given to this answer, it is clear now why so many ministers are not brought to book when they fail to discharge their duties. You say it's the president's function and authority to fire, which is the extreme end. And you say it is none of your business to bring them to book. But earlier you said that you will attend to this matter. So we're left confused. Now, as committees of this parliament, we still depend on the cooperation of the majority party in order for ministers of the ANC to be sanctioned. What are the specific and transparent methods of bringing to book ministers who are delinquents? Thank you.
Honourable Deputy President.
I should have added on the earlier one more information with regards to Minister Mutambi. My information is that her matter is before the Portfolio Committee. and that portfolio committee, the chairperson of that portfolio committee was elected this morning. Now, that is the information I have. Now, the portfolio committee itself must deal with this matter and deal with all the issues related to Minister Mutambi. Now, when I said that I will address this matter, it was precisely to make sure that indeed the portfolio committee does deal with this matter. And so it is now before the portfolio committee, and that is where it's going to be dealt with. So beyond that, clearly I cannot do. But in the end, it is the president who has to deal with members of the executive in the end in relation to their jobs. Now, I raise issues at the cabinet level about various matters, the attendance, the various matters, responses to questions and all that. But in the end, it is the president who is responsible. I hope that helps you a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honourable members, we move to the next question asked by Honourable J.L. Mahlangu to the Deputy President. Deputy President, question 34.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, the Constitutional Assembly process represented what I would call a unique moment in the history of our nation. Although there were strongly opposing positions as we were drafting the Constitution, it was possible, even with all that, to reach agreement because there was sufficient commitment to the goal of a peaceful, non-racial, non-sexist, and democratic South Africa. From that period, we drew strength and lessons to deal with contemporary challenges. We are required as leaders to see beyond the immediate interests of ourselves and our organizations. We are bound by history to work together with a view of moving South Africa forward. The Constitutional Assembly process was possible because leaders of our country engaged each other on matters of substance and were prepared to negotiate in good faith. And it's pleasing to see that a number of those leaders who were involved in this process are still here. I can cite Honorable Buthelezi, who was a very active member of that whole process, is still here, and a number of others on this side. And all of them were bound by history to work together. And in a way, it was almost a situation, whether they liked it or not, they needed to work together to produce the South Africa that we have today. The Constitutional Assembly process was possible because leaders engaged each other on matters of substance and were prepared also to negotiate in good faith. Now, as the country faces several challenges, including slow growth and high unemployment, similarly, leaders are called upon to guide our nation to greater and better things. Such engagement is taking place amongst leaders in government, in business and labor, on matters and measures that need to be taken to reignite growth and create jobs in our economy. As leaders of different political parties, we need to ensure that we act at all times in the interests of South Africa, at all times in the interests of our people as a whole. We need to show South Africans that collectively, we as leaders remain committed and capable of resolving the many challenges that our country faces. We must consistently, Honorable Deputy Speaker, be led by the needs, the feedback and suggestions of ordinary South Africans who possess a wealth of ideas, a wealth of knowledge about how to move South Africa forward. Our leadership must flow from our ability to listen and to learn from the citizens of our country and the communities across the nation. Working together, we can move South Africa forward. I have no doubt about this. Thank you very much.
Honorable Gerald Mahlangu.
Deputy Speaker, thank you. Deputy President, congratulations with your Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition of your leadership role during that period, a grueling 730 days of constitution drafting. And thank you for your eloquent response. As the ANC, we concur with your elucidation. The follow-up question is, what will it take for the current leadership, both here in South Africa and in SADC, to learn and do, sacrificing their narrow interest in pursuit of the common good of the people, in line with the leaders that you referred to earlier on, in our cause, in the cause that we've identified ourselves and measures that needs to be taken to address the triple challenges that are facing our country, which is unemployment, poverty, and inequality. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Deputy President.
I guess, Honorable Mahlangu, what leaders need to finally be aware of is that there is no better way of resolving problems rather than working together for the common good of our people. And they obviously need to agree on a vision, on a shared future, and on the interests of our people as a whole. And I found that once that type of agreement is reached on a vision, a clear vision of where we want the country to go to, and a shared future, people become much more cooperative, knowing that by so doing, they are not casting their differences aside, they are agreeing on a common vision, a shared future, and the program that needs to drive that vision and that shared future. You talk about SADC. We have proposed such in another country where I myself, as Deputy President, am involved, in Lesotho. After the holding of the SADC summit, it is precisely what we suggested. We said the various political parties in Lesotho need to cast away their various differences and sit down to craft a future for the people of Lesotho. Now, they are meant to have a national dialogue, which we hope they will hold soon, and it is out of that type of dialogue that they'll be able to craft a common vision and a common future for all the people. Now, similarly here, we've got a number of overarching problems in our own country. The one is unemployment. And if we were to all collectively sit down, like what the government is doing now with business, if we were able to collectively sit down and address the challenges, the real challenges that our country faces, which is unemployment right across the board, I am sure that we would be able to come up with solutions. It requires determination on the part of leaders, and that leaders must not hide behind the figs of petty differences. They must, the fig leaves of petty differences, they must be able to say, we agree on one thing and one thing, which is a clear vision of where to take, of how to address the issue of unemployment, and we work together to achieve that goal. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Mutau.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy President, I think we need to bring this subject closer to home. You, as leader of government business, have from time to time been assuring this House that members of the executive will be in this House when we have sessions like this. Even today, in your presence, look around you. During the last few days, there hasn't been anybody. The question is very simple. It is a failure of leadership on your part. Now, the question for me that is very, very important is that if you are not able to whip these members into line now, how are you going to be able to do it if you become the president of this country?
Deputy President.
Deputy Speaker, maybe what I should have brought is really, rather than, what I should have brought is if you like, the apologies list that I was dealing with earlier when we were in cabinet committees. Many of the ministers who were supposed to be sitting here had traveled with the president to China. Now, when BRICS, listen, when BRICS meets, we interface with other countries that take their country's participation in BRICS rather seriously. And they make sure that they participate at the highest level and the most appropriate level, because in the BRICS summit, we've got a number of other tasks and groups and task teams and ministerial committees that have to be meeting all the time during the whole session of BRICS. The Chinese bring an army of their senior officials. The Brazilians do the same. The Russians do the same. And the Indians do the same. And we are similarly expected. And we are the smallest participant in BRICS. But we've got to be punching at the same level as they are punching. And so when you see members of the executive absent here, many of them, and I can name almost each one who's not here, that they have been in BRICS processes, in BRICS sessions, in BRICS ministerial committees doing a lot of things. So on a day like this, I'd like you to be kind to the executive, knowing that this time round they've been traveling with the president to BRICS. The president arrived this morning, but many of them are still traveling because they've had to come on commercial flights. So they are on the way, and please be kind and accept their apology. Thank you very much.
Honourable
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Deputy Speaker, on a point of privilege. The Deputy President knows full well that members of the Parliament, members of the Cabinet, according to this document, are accountable to this House. They're not accountable to BRICS. How on earth are they prioritising BRICS over this House?
Honourable.
On a point of order, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
Yes, what's the point of order?
Honourable Deputy Speaker.
Yes.
The DA asked a question to the DP, and he responded.
Yes.
What more do they want from him?
Okay.
He responded to your questions. Just keep quiet and listen.
Honourable members, please. Honourable members, please.
It would be very easy to keep quiet and listen if there were decent answers. There are no decent answers. He sounds more like Mr. Zuma every day.
Honourable Steenhuisen, I didn't recognize you. Please, let us not go there. Honourable Singh, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy President, congratulations on a coveted award. Quite coincidentally, just the other day, I found a 20-year-old copy of Reader's Digest, July 1997, and in it was an article with a very young-looking Deputy President on Countdown to the Constitution, South Africa's second miracle. I'll share it with you a little later, where the miracle came about. But, Honourable Deputy President, those were the days of principled leadership, like you spoke about, unity of vision across the multi-party spectrum, and a royal road lay ahead for the people and economic future of South Africa. Today, we do not see that. What are you doing, Honourable Deputy President, as leader of government business and as an example of principled leadership to ensure that government is purged of its current leadership crisis, which seems dominated by some who are only concerned in furthering their own self-serving interests. Thank you.
Deputy President.
In everything that we do as leaders, and indeed as leaders of government, we should be guided by our Constitution. Our Constitution embodies the values that we want to guide us in everything we do. It has crafted a clear vision for our country, and if any one of us takes the trouble to read the preamble to our Constitution and read that wonderful poetry that is pregnant with so much promise, a clear vision of where we want to take this country, that is where we should start. And it is this Constitution that should be heralding us forward and making sure that we achieve our objectives. Will we falter along the way? Yes, it is possible that we will falter along the way, but the important thing is, will we be able to correct our ways? Having fallen, having faltered, and if we make mistakes, can we correct those mistakes? And I would say that is how we should be judged. And that is how the leadership, not only on this side, should be judged, but the leadership that sits in this House collectively, because we've got a very well-crafted Constitution that sits as the lodestar, and that should guide our behavior, all of us collectively. So that is the real litmus test that we should use. And thank you very much for raising the matter.
Yeah. Honorable Mngcwabe.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, our Constitution is a result of a compromise. We normally say that, which was a necessity in that time to avoid the possibility of a civil war. However, many people today are increasingly critical of this compromise and refer to it as a sellout in favor of the white people, especially when it comes to the land question. Could the Deputy President please comment on this trend? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy President.
Our Constitution was crafted at a certain point in time in the history of our country, and those who crafted the Constitution took the trouble and the time to weigh up the balance of forces that existed at the time, but also to focus on what our people wanted. Our people wanted freedom. Our people wanted stability, and our people wanted to shed the yoke of oppression and exploitation. And in doing so, we had to weigh up our own strengths and the strengths of, as we called them, the enemy at the time, and agreed collectively that that moment in history gave all of us an opportunity to make a breakthrough, to separate ourselves from a horrible past, which was apartheid. Did it mean that we had achieved everything that we had struggled for over the years? The answer is no. But it gave us a breakthrough. It gave us an opportunity which we could utilize to win further gains. And I'd like to believe that in the 23 years of our freedom, we have been able to utilize the opportunity that that breakthrough gave us. Have we made missteps along the way? I must say, yes, we have. Because no one, no organization is ever perfect. Are we trying to address those missteps? And I would say enthusiastically, yes. Were there things that we could have done differently? The answer is yes. There are many things that we could have changed immediately, and we took our time, and because the leadership, and some of them are sitting here, wanted to build a nation, they wanted to very carefully usher us into a South Africa that would deliver a better life for all. Now, in many ways, we've made progress. We've made progress in delivering a South Africa that is better than the South Africa that our people lived under. But we all agree that the glass is not full. The glass is, in fact, half full, and what we are seeking to do now is to try to improve the lives of our people using the platform that we have. We've built a very good platform We've built a very good system which can enable us to move forward. Now, the real call for all of us is, can we all work together to move South Africa forward? We've got a great foundation. The Constitution gives us that. We've got a leadership that is there that wants to move the country forward, and our people are ready to walk this journey with us. And therefore, I would say that much as we have not achieved everything we needed to, we've made great advances, and the call on all of us is to consolidate the victories that we have made and move forward with determination to truly improve the lives of our people. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, question number 35 has been asked by the Honourable Schlengwa to the Honourable Deputy President. The Honourable Deputy President.
Honourable House Chair, the decision to grant Mrs. Grace Mugabe diplomatic immunity was taken by the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Honourable Maite Nkwana Mashabane. She has indicated that she did so in terms of Section 7.2 of the Diplomatic Immunities and Privileges Act, a piece of legislation that the minister administers. The minister has sent correspondence to the Speaker of this House in this regard, and I understand that the relevant portfolio committee is now seized with this matter. Furthermore, both the
Order, honourable members. Order, honourable members.
Both the Democratic Alliance and AfriForum have approached our courts to review this decision, which they are entitled to in every way possible. I trust that this House, through the portfolio committee process and taking into account the court's proceedings that are currently underway, will deal with the matter on whether or not the minister's decision was appropriate. This is a difficult case in the light of the complexities of balancing diplomatic conventions as well as protocols against the imperatives of natural justice. Where violence against women and children is concerned, the authorities must exercise their duties in line with the applicable law and in the furtherance of the goal to end this scourge, whomever may be affected. So all I would say on this matter, House Chair, is that there are two processes that are underway. There is the portfolio committee process, and there is also the court process. Now, even if we may think that the one may not be as successful as the other, but certainly the court process, through the exercise of the powers that our judiciary has, they will be able to deliver a solution, an end, or a judgment in this regard, and we will then be able to know what should have happened. So I would say, let us then leave it at that level, even as we insulting and saying, shame on you, this and that. In the end, it is the courts of our country who will make a determination. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Schlengwa. Order, honourable members. Let us give the honourable member an opportunity to put the question.
Honourable Chairperson, thank you very much. Mr. Deputy President, let's get real. Why is it that it must be courts all the time that must tell the ANC government what to do? Why do you fail to do the right thing for South African citizens? A dangerous precedent has been set with the issue of President Omar al-Bashir, and the courts had to tell you that you are wrong. You then go and sacrifice the South African, Gabriela Engels, at the altar of expediency and allow Mrs. Mugabe to leave the country, leaving her wanting here in this country. When will you put South Africans first? You have sacrificed human rights. The Dalai Lama was refused a visa because you said you are protecting diplomatic relations. When is it that the ANC government will take the side of that which is right when dealing with the issues of diplomacy? We cannot possibly, Honorable Deputy President, have a situation where a South African is left helpless because there is power on the other side of Mrs. Mugabe. So whilst we wait for the courts, I would like to hear your views. Do you think it is correct what happened? And provide the necessary leadership so that you can actually be a glimmer of hope that there is somebody in the ANC benches who actually believes in human rights, because this current prevailing situation is not in the interest of our Constitution and most certainly does no justice for Gabriela Engels. Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Honourable Hlengwa, we do believe in human rights and we do believe in their exercise. And you'll also remember that it was this side of the House that as early as 1912 that believed that South Africa should be a country that has human rights. And throughout the years, you can go and study the Freedom Charter, the African Claims, and all the other documents ready to govern. You'll find that this side of the House has always been strong on the issue of human rights. Now, on this matter, the minister has taken a decision. Now, the very good thing is that we have a constitution that has a separation of powers, where we have the executive and where we have the legislature and the judiciary. And where the executive makes mistakes, takes certain decisions, we have a system that has checks and balances. And what we should now allow, with this decision having been taken, is to allow the courts of our country, who are the arbiters and are able to resolve disputes between various components of government. And it is not a situation where we are running to the courts all the time for assistance. This is a case in point, and as I said to you, this is a difficult one, and we would like the courts to rule on it. And I would like the court indeed to rule as quickly as possible on this matter so that we know precisely how the executive should behave in future. So I await that, and if you like, I would say we welcome the fact that the matter has been taken to court. We will not run away from that, and the courts will then take a decision on this matter. But rest assured, we will never waver on the issue of human rights. Thank you very much.
The order, honourable members. The next follow-up question is to be asked by the Honourable Kalisa. Is the honourable member here?
House Chair.
Are you taking the follow-up on behalf of the member?
More often than not, when the Deputy President is found wanting on moral questions, such as human rights question, common and often regular offenders such as Zuma and them appears to be born-again Christians, almost close to sainthood. Now I want to ask him, is he prepared to go down with people like Zuma and them and take the fall for them? Why can't he stand up now in defense of the South Africans?
The Honourable Deputy President.
I didn't get the real sort of heart of the question. Am I prepared to go down on my knees, or I'm prepared to go down underground, or I'm prepared to go down wherever? So I didn't quite get the question. What we have said is that the African National Congress and this government places the issue of human rights extremely high. In fact, if you like, it was this issue that really inspired the African National Congress to be formed. And we will not retreat on the issue of human rights, on respect for human rights. Thank you very much.
The next follow-up question is to be asked by the Honourable Mbele.
Ngiyabonga Sihlalo. Sekela Mongameli, during this reply session, you've spoken a lot about the missteps made, the mistakes made, and the falterings made by this government. But the fact is, real leadership would be one that learns from those mistakes and that enforces accountability to set a new benchmark that prevents them being repeated again. And what we've seen with the Grace Mugabe episode is a situation where principle was sacrificed on the altar of political expediency. So, facts on the table, will you admit that this ANC government does not, in fact, believe in or practice principled and accountable governance? Because if it did, Mrs. Mugabe would not have been allowed to get away scot-free.
The Honourable Deputy President.
It is this government, more than any government that I know that has ever existed in this country, that is very strong on all the issues that you mentioned. Responsibility, accountability, and doing the right thing. So this is what defines the African National Congress, the government that currently governs this country. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Mwabe.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, Deputy President. Has the government not created a dangerous precedent by overriding the rule of law for political reasons and giving effect to the concept of some are equal, but some are more equal than others? Our Constitution guarantees in Section 9 that all are equal before the law. What step can the government take to redeem itself in the eyes of ordinary South Africans and restore our faith in Section 9 of the Constitution, which guarantees equality before the law? Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
The government will continue to state and repeat that all the people of our country are equal before the law, and nobody may be treated better than any other or in a much more favorable way than any other South African. So we are all subject to equal treatment without any favor, without any privileges being loaded on anyone else. So that I am able to confirm, and that is what drives us as the governing party of this country. Thank you very much.
The last question has been asked by the Honourable Kwankwa.
On a point of order, Chairperson.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Comrade Chair, I just want to have some clarity from you. I noted I had pressed here to make a follow-up question. I noted that you recognized a number of people, but you recognized somebody who had not pressed the button. I don't know how the person who's not in this house could have pressed the button to ask the question. But now you recognize somebody who volunteers to take this question. Well, I have pressed, and my button shows that it's reflecting there.
Order, Honourable Members.
Can you please explain to me, I don't know what these ones are talking about, can you explain to me how is it possible that you recognize somebody who's not pressed the button when I'm here and I press the button?
Yes, Honourable Member, just to clarify the matter, your name did appear on the screen, but there were 12 requests for follow-up questions, and your name was number 8 on that list. And in terms of the rules, we take 4 follow-up questions. In terms of the member, will you just allow me, will you take your seat, please? I'm responding to you. In terms of the follow-up question that was asked, the name of the honourable member of the EFF, who is not in the House, appeared. And then thereafter was the name of the member who eventually took that follow-up question, and that's why I allowed that member to take that follow-up question. However, the point that you raise is that members must continuously be reminded that if they request a follow-up question, that they do press their own buttons. And unless that is done, we will not recognize them. However, in this instance, that honourable member Matthias's name did appear on the list that we had in front of us. And that's why I allowed him.
May I follow up on that question, Chair?
Yes.
Oh, please. I didn't arrive here. You're not doing me a favor.
So just continue, honourable member.
Can they give me a chance, please, to
Order,
speak?
honourable members. Order. Just be calm. Continue, honourable member.
Chair, I think we must advise the members in the House. If somebody who is not a person presses a button, that is fraudulent behavior. No, it's fraudulent behavior. It is fraudulent behavior, which is a crime at law. And we can't make the law, this House, we can't make the law in this House and break it in this House. No, make it here and break it on the street.
No, thank you, honourable member. Your point is noted. However, as I say, that the name of that honourable member who eventually took that follow-up question was on the list of 12 names that was in front of us. And that's why we allowed it.
Chairperson, could I please just ask you on a point of clarity?
No, on terms of which rule? I've dealt with your leader who raised the point of order.
I understand that. I just want to know,
What more do you want to know?
For you as the presiding officer, do you work on the format that the names appear, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at push the button and you take the first? Or do you work it on your prerogative to decide which of the 8 names or 12 names are selected? As just on a point of clarity.
No, we take the names as they appear on the screen. And then by also allowing that we have a good spread of participation from the different members. For instance, if COPE had, for instance, 15 members in the House, which they don't have, and all 15 names appear from COPE, then we will just give one member of COPE the opportunity to ask the question. That is to ensure that we have broad participation in the House. I think that settles the matter now.
Okay. Chair, it actually doesn't. That opens it up. If I can
No, honourable member, I've addressed the matter.
Question
Will
number
you take
2.
your seat now, please?
The Congress of the People was first on
Honourable
the list.
member,
Question
take
3,
your
we were
seat.
first on the list, but we were never given an opportunity.
Honourable member, we've exhausted this point. Please take your seat. Thank you. I've been informed that...
Point of order, Chair.
Order, honourable members.
Point of order, please.
In terms of what rule are you raising, honourable member?
I shall explain. Point of order.
No, honourable member. There's no such a rule as explain a point of order.
That which has been raised here.
Why are you rising?
The deputy speaker there, when we were supposed to speak, simply instructed our person to say, whether you like it or not, I shall decide. It's me that decides. Are you doing the same
Honourable
thing?
member, we are now delaying the question session. This is the wrong
Is it
forum.
the same thing that you are doing yourself?
This is a wrong forum. You are in the wrong forum. Raise the meeting in the appropriate forum, the rules or sub-rules committee, and then we can attend to that. I cannot answer. I can deal with the issues as it's in front of me. Yes, honourable member.
I'm rising in terms of Rule 92 of this House. Honourable Lekota made a remark that there were fraudulent behaviours here. And the member who stood up is from the benches of the economic freedom fighters. Honourable Lekota must actually withdraw because he's speaking to our benches.
Honourable members, I've dealt with the matter, okay? I've dealt with the matter. I want to request the whips to discuss this matter in the appropriate forums, right? And although the honourable member has made a broad statement, I think we must be very, very aware of what the rules say, that we cannot cast aspersions on members of the House. But I've dealt with this point of order, and I want to get to the question that was raised by the Honourable Kwankwa. And I was busy informing the House that the Honourable Fultane will take charge of the first supplementary question on behalf of the Honourable Kwankwa in accordance with Rule 137(10)(a). And I will now request the Honourable Deputy President to reply to the question asked by the Honourable Kwankwa. The Honourable Deputy President.
Speaker, I rise on Rule 92.
Yes, Honourable Member.
You are saying we have dealt with the matter, but you are raising a point that an aspersion has been casted, because the only person who rose at that time is a member of the EFF, which is Honourable Sam Matiasi. So the member is saying that he had fraudulently risen up. So we are asking him to withdraw. So there's no way of saying that you have dealt with the matter. We don't know if we are overruling him or sustaining his point that we are sitting here with frost dust when we have to rise. Please rule on the matter.
No. Honourable members, I've made a ruling in this regard. And I want to proceed to the reply to question number 6. The Honourable Deputy President.
Honourable House Chair, South Africa belongs to all who live in it, but it does not belong to abusers, racists, and bigots of any kind. The Constitution provides the basis for a new South African identity and enables South Africans to have a common bond. It is our responsibility as individuals, as institutions, and the state to forge that new identity and establish that bond. In short, we all bear responsibility for building social cohesion. We need to promote increased interaction between South Africans from different social and racial groups so that each group discovers in the other common humanity. It is very difficult to measure social cohesion. Where we have indicators, the results are often mixed. For example, the proportion of people who thought that race relations were improving declined from about 70% in 2000 to the current figure of 37% in 2015. In 2000, 85% of the population were confident of a happy future for all races. This has declined to 65% in 2015. On the other hand, progress has been made to address social and economic inequality through the provision of housing, basic services, education, and healthcare. The racial incidents to which the member refers to offer a glimpse of the very worst in our society. However, the way that most South Africans reacted to these incidents with shock and condemnation reflects the extent to which the basic values of our Constitution have become embedded in our national consciousness. These ugly and humiliating encounters among citizens should not just be met with tweets, Facebook posts, media reports, and research studies. They must be met with the full might of the law. Unapologetic bigots and abusers and racists must be put in their place, and that place is off our streets. We must work to create an inclusive, tolerant society, but those who patently refuse to be part of this society must indeed be dealt with in terms of our law. I thank you.
The Honourable Fultane.
Well said, Deputy President. The admission of worsening situation is much appreciated. Racism runs very deep in the South African society. Social cohesion cannot solely rely on the justice system due to the long process of receiving justice finally. Therefore, there is a high attrition rate of these cases not going through the justice system, like so many unreported cases of rape. The justice system is not sufficient, does not offer sufficient deterrent for racial attacks, let's admit. Now, my question is, what proactive social programs are there being initiated by governments to enhance interracial social cohesion, taking it beyond just the mere tolerance level? Such programs should bring about social congruence of purpose instead of the ravaging diametrical opposition that we see daily in our country. What proactive social programs does your government offer? That's the question. Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. The government embarks on a number of initiatives to enhance social cohesion. And I can cite a few, and there's one major one that is going to be coming shortly. The various national days that we have. A day, 27th of April, which is an important day, a Freedom Day, the 16th of June, the 9th of August, and now we are going to the 24th of September, which is National Heritage Day, are days during which government tries to bring the people of South Africa together to celebrate their success in becoming one nation, but also to commemorate important days. The National Heritage Day is a particularly important one, where government, through this initiative, seeks to bring people together so that they can participate in family-oriented activities, but also in a national activity. Now, we often say we would like all South Africans to participate. Now, we're always pained when a few in our communities do not even make an appearance, when a few do not even lift their feet to come and participate in these, because quite often these occasions give us an opportunity to display our culture, to display even our languages, to display even our national, clothing and all that. And a number of groupings in our country stay away. Now, we want to make a call ahead of this day that all South Africans should find a way, a time, an opportunity to participate in these days, because these are important initiatives that government embarks upon. The others are dialogue processes that are led by the ministry that Minister Mthethwa leads. The ministry that embarks on these dialogues and bring people together to talk about their South African nationhood, to talk about what is a common identity amongst all of us. And the Moral Regeneration Committee also seeks to find ways of doing that. Our religious leaders, right across various religions, also work with government to embark on many of these activities. Now, these are active programs in which the government also allocates funding, and we invite all South Africans to be part of this process of celebrating our South Africanness and making sure that we participate in being this one nation that we should all be very proud of. Thank you very much.
The next follow-up question is to be asked by the Honourable Malloy.
Thank you very much, Comrade President, for your comprehensive and a well-thought-of answer. Now, given the unquestionable commitment of the ANC and the ANC-led government to transform South Africa into a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and a prosperous country, to what extent are the principles of such common nationhood, national pride, and civic responsibility being assimilated by all South Africans? And moreover, because you spoke about moral regenerations, what should be the role and responsibility of the moral regeneration in fostering social cohesion? Thank you very much.
The Honourable Deputy President.
The various initiatives are right across the country. We even seek to inculcate these very important values at the school level to get South Africans to be proud of their national symbols, to get South Africans to not only know their national anthem, but also to try and speak other languages other than those that they were brought up with. And this, in our view, would promote a common South African citizenship that all of us can be proud of. Now, the government is reaching out just beyond even schools, on the sporting field. That is precisely what we are also seeking to do. In higher institutions, institutions of higher learning, that is also what we're seeking to do. Now, in order for all this to be successful, it requires the active participation of all key stakeholders in our country, be they business, be they political parties, be they trade unions. And if all of us could participate in the nation-building effort where we engender and encourage social cohesion, we would then be able to get rid of all these prejudices that a number of people still have in our country. If we acted as one, as collectively as South Africans, and embraced the values that are embodied in our Constitution, we would make a great deal of headway. Thank you, House Chair.
The next follow-up question is to be asked by the Honourable Kubisa.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. Honourable Deputy Speaker, we understand that a lot of resources were pumped in dealing with anti-racism in our country. There was an international anti-racism conference, national racism conference, etc. But we see the resurgence of racism in different quarters of our country, certain quarters of our country. Just recently, we saw a PR company from Britain, Bell Pottinger, coming to sow the seeds of division and discord within our country. And they've admitted, and eventually they saw us to resign. They kept on passing the buck. The owner says, no, he was misled. The CEO said, I was misled. And I just want to ask from you, Honourable Deputy President, will there be any steps that perhaps will be taken to ensure that this company is called to come and account? Because seemingly it was protecting the interest of the Guptas and certain individuals. And what is it can be done to mitigate the damage that this company has done? Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair. What I do know is that this company has had to account to its British standards organization. And coming here to South Africa, I have not seen any sign of this company being taken to book. But at a political level, I think a lot of people have commented quite extensively about the influence that this company has had in terms of propagating views that have had an influence of what happens here in South Africa, particularly when it comes to propagating a very narrow racial type of ideology or approach that we find very inimical with what we stand for here in South Africa. So in the South African marketplace, I don't know whether the PR agency that we have in South Africa has had to deal with them, but what I did see is how they were dealt with in the UK, which seems to be affronted by what Bell Pottinger has been seeking to do here in South Africa. Thank you.
And the last follow-up question is to be asked by the Honourable Van Dam.
Thank you, Deputy President. On the subject of Bell Pottinger, so we know that they've now been thrown out of the PRCA for exploiting racial tensions in South Africa for the benefit of the Gupta family and Duduzane Zuma, President Jacob Zuma's son. We also know that Bell Pottinger gave advice to the ANC Youth League and the Umkhonto weSizwe military veterans, including praising a statement where Mr. Collins Maine, the leader of the ANC Youth League, threatened civil war in this country. As the Deputy President of the ANC, can you tell this House whether Bell Pottinger also gave advice to Luthuli House? Because we know, Deputy President, that the real client of Bell Pottinger was the ANC and not Oak Bay.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. I am not aware that Bell Pottinger gave advice to the African National Congress. And indeed, if they did so, I guess as Deputy President of the ANC, I would have been aware. So I'm not aware of that. And as far as I'm concerned, that did not happen. And if it did happen, possibly it was not disclosed to me, but we would have found it very strange if they had given advice to the African National Congress. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, that concludes questions to the Deputy President. I want to thank the Honourable Deputy President. The Secretary will read the first order of the day.
Consideration of recommendations for appointment.
All right, well, those were live proceedings straight from Parliament, where Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa was answering oral questions in the National Assembly relating to a wide range of economic issues that are currently plaguing the country. He said for us as a country to raise economic growth, we need more regional trading, rebuilding of investor confidence, less red tape when it comes to doing business with other countries, and stabilizing our SOEs and transforming the mining as well as private sectors. He said government is currently working on several fronts to reduce the risks of violent strikes, adding that the principles of the minimum wage have already been approved and agreed to and will then commence as of the 1st of May in 2018. He said it's up to all of us as South Africans to ensure that we ensure hope or infuse hope into our people, that change and growth are possible. He also added that the recent stats have shown that some sectors can actually generate serious growth, like the agriculture and mining sectors. Therefore, this means that these should be prioritized as they bolster general growth, which translates into sustainable job creation as well as employment. He said if we restructure some policies of our economy on the mining charter, he told MPs that there are current dialogues between all role players and people must at least give these processes a fair chance, and said that the 10-point mining plan is working and is already yielding good results. Achievements so far: the MAA plant in Braamfontein has an 80% local content. The clothing and textile industry saved 70,000 jobs and created about 950,000 jobs nationwide. He also said that President Jacob Zuma will soon be launching an investment one-stop shop in Cape Town, which will seek to inform strategic guidance as well as reduce the red tape for investors that want to invest in the Western Cape. He, however, defended the 9-point plan, saying that even economic analysts couldn't have foreseen that agriculture and mining would contribute so much to our economy after they had reduced projections to minimal growth this year, amounting to the recently announced 2.5% growth that has since taken South Africa out of the technical recession. Well, these were just some quick highlights from the DP's answers. Jeez, let's take a breather. I'll be back with more news after that.